dance for joy or lust or anger, and every time you haven't got it right.
Welcome to Sensible Secondhand Reviews, the series where we look at practical and sensible cars which you can buy for a budget of between £1,000 and £5,000. This is a 2012 Honda CR-V Mark III 2-litre EX automatic, or at least I think it's an EX. We'll come back to that in a little while. But is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So yes, I know I left the rear interior light on viewers. I'll switch that off later. The third generation Honda CR-V was launched in this country at the end of 2006, beginning of 2007, and continued into production until about September 2012. So this is quite a late one. It's a car dating from, I think, the summer of 2012, this particular one. The engines available in this country were a little bit on the restricted side, but with the petrol, there was only one unit. It's this 2-litre R-Series engine with 148 horsepower. This particular car, because it's an automatic, does 0 to 60 in around 11.5 seconds. The manual's actually quite quick. The 6-speed manual will do 0 to 60 in 9.9 seconds, which I have experienced. I've driven a couple of those. And, you know, honestly, they're pretty good. This one, though, it seems nice and smooth and nice and quiet and, you know, just gets on with the job without any fuss, really. There are also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. So why is this car eligible for Duct Tape Edition on Sensible Secondhand Reviews? Well, my friend who owns this, her father bought this car new, and he wasn't the best at parking, so the car is a little bit cosmetically rough with the duct tape on the bumpers and things. It has an MOT and everything, but it's just not necessarily in cosmetically perfect condition or anything like that. Mechanically, it's pretty good, to be honest. Naturally, these cars are quite dependable. We'll come back a little bit later on and explain what the sort of biggest problem with these cars is. It's quite common for the sort of Japanese cars that I suffer from the exact issue. I think many of you will know what it is. But one of these cars can be very good news. They are very comfortable to drive, actually. The ride and handling, it's not really designed particularly to go off-road, although it does have permanent four-wheel drive, but it's a system that actually only will engage the rear wheels when it detects slippage at the front. So most of the time the car is in front-wheel drive mode. And that's maybe how you want it. A lot of people probably wouldn't even need that, but all of them came with this system. I suppose it's there if you want it. And actually, yes, it's dealing with the kind of surfaces around here that's a little bit on the bumpy side really quite well. It's a real pleasant surprise, actually, this car. It's most enjoyable to drive. And actually it sort of slots through city streets pretty well, and it would be very comfortable on a longer journey. The only thing I would say is that people at the time considered the ride to be a little bit on the firm side. I'm not entirely sure if that's true or not. I think it feels comfortable enough to me, but that's just something to bear in mind. So yes, Sensible Secondhand Reviews Duct Tape Edition. This car has been in the same family since it was new in 2012. It's quite a late example of this third generation of CR-V. And this was top of the range. This is an EX as far as I know. It's come up as an EX and an ES on different sites where I've actually checked. I think we're going to go with EX. from what I understand. So we've got front parking sensors, rear parking sensors. We've got leather and Alcantara interior. Nice little touchscreen in the middle as well. I think it was an upgrade on this car. The first owner had it until very recently, actually. The owner who's got it now is actually his daughter, and she sort of inherited it when he passed away. He wasn't the best person at parking. That is quite clear, as you can see from the front and rear bumpers of the car. But actually, mechanically, it's pretty good. I've had a look underneath it, and the big problem with these cars is rust on the front subframe and the rear suspension, and this car's actually fine. One thing you must not do with one of these if you're thinking of buying one is buy one that has any advisories for corrosion. It's just not worth it really these days. This is one of the latest ones. It's a 2012, so all of the cars are pretty much 23 years, no, sort of 13 years old, the newest ones now. So yeah, just bear that in mind when you're buying one. Boot is huge on these, absolutely massive. It's 556 litres. So if you have a family, then this might be worthy of your consideration. You can see it's absolutely huge. One thing you can do as well, which is why the load blinds are very strange in this car, is because you can actually recline these seats. You can actually see how it is that you can operate them with this diagram behind the pillar back of the seat, which is very useful. Also, if we open up the boot floor there, we can see we've got the spare tyre and the jack as well. Big old spare tyre, isn't it? Massive. And we've got places to put things in there, so you can put a second load cover in there if you want to. The only thing you can't get this car with, and this has been remedied on sort of later examples of the CR-V, is 7 seats. You couldn't get them in this generation. A look in the back. Doors open nice and wide. So yeah, nice interior, very plush feeling materials actually in this of the era. There's some interesting design of these rear door cards as well. I'll shut the door so that I don't get people coming and trying to take a door off. There you can see there, it's actually feels good. It's hard plastic, but that's kind of normal for this sort of type of car, really, particularly in the back. So there are bits of leather, mat pockets. You even get these little armrests for the driver and passenger. Big storage area here for all kinds of bits and pieces. USB sockets in the back of there, and an aux in. Plenty of headroom, I mean, loads of headroom. See if this works. There we go, that's a bit better. So you do get a rear courtesy light. You also get, if you fold this forward, you can get a rear armrest in here as well, depending on what you want. You can use that as an armrest if you want to. And you can see here, you can have that in any position you want. So that's how the rear seats actually work, which is good. And you can have an armrest like that as well. You can have some cup holders in there. It's a big old armrest. So very, very practical car. Certainly suitable for a family. And we've even got some grab handles for the driver as well. Let's see how they're damped. Let's see if that's any good. Oh yes. Let's try that again. Excellent. Yeah. I mean, what more is it that you need? And that's for the centre rear passenger, if you want to put that in. And the other seats do feel very nice. Actually, this interior, because this car is 13 years old, has done 98,000 miles. Actually pretty good. Certainly, it's a lot better than the outside of the car. This had to be very thoroughly cleaned, though, as the owner tells me. After her father, gave up driving, and passed the car on, had to be very thoroughly cleaned. But it's pretty good now, to be honest, in here. Yeah. Right, let's have a look at the front, shall we? So, let's get in the front. These cars are quite unusual in that the handbrake is a little bit weird. It was always a bit weird in other CR-Vs as well, but this one, the handbrake is sort of here. And if it's a manual car, this is an auto, the 6-speed manual would be here. The gearboxes in the manuals are actually, to be honest, quite nice. I've driven a couple of those, and yeah, it's a nice gearbox actually. Just move this sort of there. You can see this is a facelifted car. Facelift occurred in sort of late 2009. The back lighting on the instrument is blue, whereas on the pre-facelift cars, I think it's black or white or something. So we've got all sorts of things, and I'll put the key in. There we go. And we've got beeps and everything, and got for the era, quite a large colour touchscreen. I think this is an original equipment, like an upgrade or something like that, or maybe standard on this top of the range car. And you get this tiny little glove box there as well. You get a little glove box there, and you get one down here as well. There we go. All the manuals and stuff live in there. I'm afraid my secret vision dogs aren't going in there. But yeah, isn't it great? Lots of storage space. There's all the lights up, all the little gauges. The tyre pressure monitor does need resetting on this car. So we've got, I think that's a wash wipe for, I don't know, maybe it's for the headlamps or something at the front. I've got headlamp washers. Dual zone climate control as well, of course. And cruise control buttons for the stereo on there. And just sort of hard surface on here, which is a bit of a shame, but the rest of it's quite interestingly designed. You've got one-shot drivers and passengers window on here as well, which is good. And we've got power fold mirrors. Is that going to work, actually? Let's see if that works. Yes! Oh, yes, viewers. Yeah. We like luxury on this channel, viewers. We like it very much. We've got some nice big door bins for big bottles and things like that. It is, I think, quite a nice interior, actually. The only thing is that this dash is all sort of hard, which is just sort of a bit of a shame. But, you know, I don't think back in the era it really was such a problem. And most of you, considering how cheap these cars are now, you're not going to care, are you, really? Seats are nice, so they are very nice. As I mentioned in the back, we've got these armrests for driver and passenger. We've got that is the sort of ashtray, which you can take out if you want. Big cup holders. You've got heated seats in here as well. Ooh, and this cubby here, which you can then see. You've got the USB right down there, the aux in. So yeah, it's good. We've got space down there. That's where the cigarette lighter goes in. So loads of space to put things. The only thing is I wouldn't put anything sort of down there that's going to move around, because you might get under the pedals. Talking of pedals, you've got a footrest down there as well, which is good. The driving position is pretty nice, actually. You can imagine doing quite a lot of miles in here and it being quite comfortable. The only thing I would say is that we've not got automatic lights or wipers in this car, which is something that I would imagine that you would get if this was the top spec, which I think it is. If it's an EX, I think it is. So there's all sorts of interesting things in here to play with. Yeah, these cars don't tend to have too many problems, apart from the rust on the front subframe and the rear suspension, as I've mentioned. They don't tend to have that many problems. They do wear out things like you know, suspension components, and sometimes they exhaust quite quickly, but apart from that, they're not too bad. It's just a shame about the rust, which is the #1 thing to look out for on these. Right, let's have a look at the engine, shall we? So this is Honda's R-Series engine. It's not the R-Series engine from the Maestro, by the way. It's Honda's version of a 2-litre engine developing 148 horsepower. It's also used in various Civics, things like that. You could also get this with the K24 engine in some parts of the world. I mean, that's a fantastic engine. It's a shame we didn't actually sell them over here. Before you might to find one of these with an engine we can't talk about on the channel, really. But yeah, there's plenty with this 2-litre, and chain driven. They tend to be very reliable engines. You've got to be a bit careful on them. Sometimes they can develop coolant leaks, and the coolant reservoir in these is, well, it can be sort of quite hard to actually see it. It's just here. Quite difficult to see sometimes where the level is in these, so you've got to be careful about that when you're looking at one. But yeah, it's not too bad in here. It's a little bit dirty, but that doesn't really matter. Chassis number just lives under there. Yeah, not much to say really about this particularly, because really not when it goes wrong. It's more sort of the cosmetic stuff and you know, the rust you've got to be aware of buying one of these. But Yeah, they tend to be quite dependable overall. Right, let's go on the road again, shall we, and go for another spin. So when looking at one of these, I suppose you'd be looking at things like the Land Rover Freelander 2, but be up against this. The Kia Sportage as well was sold at the same time as this. You'd be looking at either the Mark II or the Mark III with one of these, and Mark III is a much better car than the Mark II. But I think it's worth considering if you can get a sort of all clear on the rust point of view, because the rust doesn't actually show so much on the outside of the car. It's mainly on the underneath, so you do need to inspect that. But yeah, brakes feel strong. It's just such a comfortable and easy car to drive, particularly this automatic version. Yeah, I'm really impressed with these. I just wish that I didn't have to preface everything I say by like check the underneath of the car before you buy one. I just wish that wasn't the case, but unfortunately it is. I think the Mark 1 and Mark 2 are much the same actually in that regard. So I don't know what was going on particularly. These cars were built in Swindon for our market. I don't know what that says about the factory where they made them, but there we go. Let's look now at some trim levels for the Mark III Honda CR-V. So there's the ES, the ESK, the EST, the EX, I think this one is, the SE, the SE Plus, the SE Plus T, and the SET. So mainly things with T on the end for some reason. So viewers, should you consider a Mark III Honda CR-V for your hard-earned budget of between £1,000 and £5,000, a sensible second-hand car? Well, I don't see why not. The only thing I would do is just make sure you go underneath the car and check for rust before you buy one of these, and make sure that things like the exhaust is okay, the brakes are okay, and that it's not been it's a car that had the servicing skimped and things like that. But actually, these generally are quite good cars if you follow the caveats that I've mentioned. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and we shall see you again very soon for some more reasonably priced motoring.
1, 2, 3, 4. Every blue day, every